Welcome, everybody, to the episode 2 of the newest and greatest show in StarCraft. This is the Dank Shrine. The Dank Archons coming at you. I'm Zilly, and with me is,
Toast.
and we'd like to welcome you guys to another great episode of the show and update you a little bit on what's going on. We're hoping to get a little bit of feedback from everyone, and we have opened up a Twitter account. It's the Dank Shrine, and you guys can go ahead and post any questions that you might have about the show or just things that you want to have talked about. And we'll go ahead and bring up those topics and talk a little bit about them. So if we want to get some feedback from everybody, that's a good way to do it. So go over to Twitter, look for the Dank Shrine. That'll be the account. You can post a question on there, and we will answer it for y'all. So it's been a little bit of a busy week for the two of us, but we're coming out trying to bring the passion for StarCraft and talk about some awesome game that we love.
Yeah, it definitely has been a long week. Also, guys, follow the at Born Gosu on Twitter as well. Check out borngosu.com and also choboteamleague.com.
That's right. Yeah, we're here trying to promote the league. It's a great way to get more involved in StarCraft. Chobo Team League. It's essentially a pro league style where teams play each other, and we have a great team, Born Gosu. But go ahead and check out the website borngosu.com or choboteamleague.com to get involved with that.
We've got the Dankest team.
Yeah, we definitely do have the dankest team. There's no disputing that. And one of the best teams too. We won a couple of seasons ago, and we're making a run at it again this year.
Oh, yeah. We're so dank, we've actually lost people due to dankness. So
Yeah, some people can't quite
if you
handle
can't
the
handle
level
the
of
dank,
dankness.
yeah, stay the fuck out.
Yeah, but we do have a great team. We're always looking to try to get new people in, and I think we're trying to recruit some higher level players as well. So if you just happen to come across this video and are looking for a team to join, yeah, go ahead and just check it out, join the Discord, and holler at us. So
Yeah,
we're
it
gonna
was
go. Sorry.
no.
All right, so we were just gonna go ahead and talk a little bit about some of the news that's going on in StarCraft, and yeah, we've had a kind of a busy week. There's been a lot of things going on in the Korean scene, and next weekend is going to be extremely busy. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, what do we have? We have GSL finals, which are going to be good matches. We also have WCS Mexico City coming up, which I don't believe the brackets are live yet.
Yeah, we
But
wanted
as
to
soon as
talk about
those,
that, but they're not quite available at this time.
as,
So
as soon as those go live, we'll be covering those. And I actually think I thought what would be cool, and I didn't think of this until just now. But me and you should actually take predictions for the entire thing, and then maybe post that. Not
yeah,
talk about it, but just post it still of who we picked to win the whole thing, and we'll just kind of see how it kind of like a final four, if you will.
yeah, I know you and Sam like to do that, so we can go ahead and post them. And if anybody else wants to, post their predictions on the Twitter, we can see who has the best predictions, and we'll do that next week because
That'd
the
be fun.
brackets will probably be available.
Yeah.
Also, with the the GSL finals that are next weekend, we also have the ASL finals for
Yep.
Brood War, so that'll be fun. That's going to be right before the SC2 finals, and we also have the SSL finals. So everything in Korea is kind of coming down to the wire, and it's all next weekend. So if you haven't followed it, we'll give you a little bit of an update on what's going on, but make sure to check that out because Korean StarCraft is really fun. WCS is really fun. All the big names, I'm sure, will be there, and we got a lot to look forward to right now coming up.
You guys, you should really take that weekend off of work. It would be a good weekend just to veg out and do nothing except
Yeah,
for watch StarCraft.
if you work weekends, call in sick. If you don't work weekends, great. Just hang out inside. Don't let the sun touch you, and watch some great StarCraft.
Exactly. Or hey, just set it up outside. If you need to be out there, wife's getting mad that you're inside too much, just set it up outside in the garage.
That's right. Use that laptop, huh?
Exactly. But yeah, so speaking of GSL, we'll go into the match that we had just watched here. Now, we haven't seen Beyond Play yet, but what we did see was an excellent game from SOS and Yunchik. Now, my prediction for that, I had actually thought that Mianchuk might win that in like a 3-4, like a very close set. Didn't quite end up that way. Mianchuk not looking as tight as I feel like he has in the past, and SOS is coming through and really showing that he's such a much. Not only is he good, but he's smart, and there is a difference.
Yeah, just kind of knowing what to do when. I mean, both these guys do, right? They don't ever overmake any sort of unit that they don't need to. Maybe aside from adepts, but they don't get too many Phoenix. They don't go too heavy on the Dark Templar. Both these guys know, but it seemed like in this series, SOS kind of had the advantage in terms of knowing exactly what to do and when.
Yeah, like I said, that I feel like that's what makes him a better player. I feel like he knows like the timings, he knows the build orders, he knows routing patterns. Like I feel like he's got all that in his brain. Like that's what he was working on. Not just build orders and everything else, but he's got so much more involved with how he practices and how he plays the game.
Yeah, it's really interesting. We saw a lot of different strategies employed. Something that I haven't seen as much of that was in these series was the storms. A lot of high Templar play, which was really interesting.
Well, and speaking of High Templar, one net point that actually came very interesting was I want to say it was Miunchik that had the High Templars, and he was using the feedback to get rid of those Phoenixes to try to even out that count
Yeah,
so that he wasn't at a disadvantage.
yeah.
So not only the storms, but making good use of feedback in general. I feel like feedback isn't used enough.
I know it's something people do when you see a player going for Sky Toss, but we didn't see Sky Toss there. We just saw,
No.
a handful of adepts, or sorry, but rather the Phoenixes, and that was something that we did see. I believe it was Myunchik who was using the feedback on SOS, but I can't remember. I remember it was on Dusk.
Yeah, like I said, it was really good games. Another thing they implemented, it was the disruptors.
Yeah,
I mean, they like every game had its own real style. I mean, I wouldn't say they both played the same game every round. I mean, each game was its own separate amazing match.
yeah, it's kind of fun to watch, and I think we're getting at a point with PvP. We're seeing some of these, disruptor drops with the Prism, the storms coming in, and even on Frost, it was both these players were sitting there on one base for kind of a while, and both of them kind of knew that, hey, if I'm going to expand right now, I could very well lose this game. We saw both of them kind of go and sit there on one base and try to attack and build
Yeah.
up and go different tech routes and see what tech the other one was going for before expanding. And I know that was the way the PvP was for quite a while, so it's cool to see that it's kind of getting back there a little bit more where you don't expand necessarily.
Yep. Yeah, we saw a little bit of everything in the game, including including like a base race. So,
Yeah,
guys, if you haven't watched that set, make sure you watch that set. It
yeah.
was insane.
I think that was Rack Shear that we saw that base race. That was, I believe, game three, and that
Yeah,
was a lot of
that
fun to watch.
that was probably one of the better games of this year. I think Tesla Narcosis did an amazing job a casting it, but also just I think they were surprised by how great those games were.
Yeah, I mean, I know both of them play a little bit Protoss. I think that's what they main. Always, they're great casters regardless, but I think when it comes to Protoss, they understand the race a little bit better. And it's cool to see. I know that both of them get really hyped up for SOS, especially Artosis, and it was fun to watch. Well casted, good games. So if you're a Protoss
Mhm.
player looking for some PvP, go ahead and check that GSL VOD out. It's all free to watch.
Yeah, they also had some dank commentary as usual.
That's right. That's right.
Well, and then what? So what do you got for us for the SSL?
Yeah. So for the SSL, we ended up with well, it was Solar against Patience was one of the semifinals, and the other one was Dark against Classic. And it was kind of interesting that we didn't have any Terrans in this because it was all Protoss and Terrans for the GSL, and a couple of PVZs, fun matchup to watch, and a couple of players who go about the game very differently in the different styles. So uh, the first one I want to talk about is actually the more recent match, which was Patience versus Solar. And I think that it was interesting for me because Solar is a guy that I've seen earlier on in uh, Heart of the Swarm. He was a good player. He was never one of the best players, but he seems like he's kind of finding his way a little bit more now. And I kind of thought that he wasn't that really great player. You don't see him coming out all the time in Pro League. And he showed some good games. I've always felt of him more as a player who likes to all in, and he didn't show a lot of all ins here.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely part of it. Just expanding his knowledge and then playing to his strengths, but also improving on his weaknesses.
Yeah,
Being that better player, and maybe he's just late to the party. He's finally realizing like, oh, I can actually win.
yeah, it was cool to see. He definitely employed a lot of the Ling's Bane style, but a lot of these games he went to the later game. I know that on Dusk Towers he ended up going for Brood Lords, getting that Hive tech, And Patience was looking to go for Stargates, taking fast third bases, and Solar didn't try to all in him going against this. I think he recognized that he was going to be able to beat Patience in a macro game. And Patience ended up, not doing much at all with his Stargates. In fact, in I believe it was game number one, he went for triple Stargate, and Solar was out there with Speed Overlords scouting everything the whole time, not doing a whole lot of drops with the Speed Overlords, but just getting all the information that he needed. And scouted triple Stargate in game one, shut that down. He was able to deflect a lot of the Stargate Oracle and drop plays that were going on, and just kind of out macroed him in a lot of these games. Ended up taking game number five. He shut down some DT play in game number three and four, and then game number five went for a 12 pool to finish it off against the Nexus first, and took the series pretty easily. And I think it's cool. Patience to me seems like a good player. He's not one of the top Protosses, but he's definitely a good one. And seeing Solar move across him here was pretty impressive.
Yeah, like I said, I didn't expect to see Zerg move forward, let alone make it to one of the finals.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it just comes down to people playing a lot more of this Ling Bane style. I know it's kind of what's everybody's doing right now, but it's a lot of these guys who are doing it are making it work really well and getting to the late game by being able to deflect things with Banelings and Lings.
Yeah, I feel like late game is such a good unit, and prior it just has not been utilized as much as it should be.
Yeah, I mean, some of that Zerg late game tech right now is strong, and especially against Protoss. I mean, they have the answers, but if you're able to not let them get that massive army, kind of whittle it down all the time with Lings and run-bys and denying expansions, and that's a lot of what happened here, was canceling third and fourth bases and just kind of starving out the Protoss from Solar. So well done by him. Not what I expected for sure. And it's moving on to the finals.
Yeah, I had actually predicted it the other way around myself.
Yeah, I mean, I thought we were going to look at a PvP here.
Yep.
So we have at least one Zerg, and then the other matchup was really, really interesting to me, and that was Dark versus Classic. And these are two players who've been playing their ass off lately. They've both been being utilized by their teams in Pro League quite a bit. Dark, SSL champion last year. And
Yep.
Classic is a guy that, he's always been there, the win toss, and he's been playing really well lately.
Yeah. I mean, Classic's been around, and he's beat some really good players in the past to get, to these finals. I mean, and he's won, a couple of these tournaments too. He's just someone you can never count out. He's not. I would say he was never the best, but at the same time, it was just never someone you could ever cut. You could never count out.
Yeah, I mean, he's been there as long as I've been watching the Korean StarCraft, and he's still making it, doing well.
Yeah.
I want to get a little bit into these games. It was fun to watch. We had New Gettysburg Classic came out and went for massive depths, full Neeb style, and just shredded Dark, and it really looked like Classic was just going to continue to do so, and that's what I thought was going to happen here. I know Dark is a good player, but we've all been seeing Zerg struggle a lot. But game two, he was able to come out and went for a Bane bust on Dusk Towers, which is really not what you see, and I think that showed that Dark was really studying, preparing for the matchup, and kind of not playing the conventional way, and ended up going to the late game with Lurkers and Broodlords, and just not able to let Classic do what he wanted.
I feel like when Zerg does get up that high in the tech tree, it can be hard to break them, especially with the good Brood Corruptor composition, and then with with that ground army. I feel like if you let them get to that point, that's super hard to break.
And especially on a map like Dusk Towers, if there's only one attack path, getting those Broodlords is very, very strong. It's hard for the Protoss to, come in and do counter damage. And Dark was doing a really great job of shutting down the Warp Prism, shutting down the Harass in that game, not letting his bases, be killed with charge loss and what have you. And then it was really interesting because, there was Dark going for some very particular builds. And in game three on Frozen Temple, he went for Burrowed Roaches off of two bases and a Roach drop. And it was a little bit unfortunate because Classic was going for a fast Immortal push, so Dark got completely destroyed there.
Yeah, kind of the hard counter to that.
A little bit of a hard counter, yeah. Burrowed Roaches are great, but as soon as you get one Observer out, Immortals just shred through them, so that was a little bit of a build order loss there. But game four, to me, was the really interesting one. This was on King Sejong Station, and to me, this is where I feel like Dark really showed his true talent. He was able to go in and just do what he does best, drop Banelings, run Banelings by, and kind of kept Classic on his back foot the entire game, and was able to get up again to that Lurker Broodlord late game Zerg composition that's nearly impossible to break. and doing it with while being aggressive the whole time, taking bases and just defending everything the Classic was trying to do. Defending Dark Templar, and just great game by Dark, really showing how to get everywhere, make the Protoss exploit the inability for them to defend all their bases at once.
Yeah, I mean that's the best way to take advantage of Protoss too. Is if you can split them up between their bases and just keep doing these ling run buys. I
Yeah.
mean, at some point, one of them's going to deal massive amounts of damage, and that can be the turning point.
And I don't know how many probes Classic made in this game because he was continually losing them to not just Ling run buys, but Bane run buys and Bane drops. And Dark
Yeah.
doing what Dark does best, just making Banelings work for him and getting to the late game.
Well, when you see speed on Overlords, you kind of always have to suspect the drop, and you kind of just never know when it's going to come. It can just be one of those things that just springs up and happens.
And this was what was interesting to me, in the difference between Dark's games and Solar's games, is that Solar's going for the Overlord speed to scout, but Dark was utilizing the drops a lot more. And I feel like this is one of the biggest strengths of Zerg's right now, is just not playing the game conventionally, going for this continual harass with the drops of Banelings and Lings. Yeah, and then this game ended up going all the way to 7. Game 5 was apotheosis, and it was the excellent example of, Dustin Browder was proud. The rocks got busted down, and the Zerg army got split across on that gold base, and yeah, it was game over for Dark on that one. Classic took it, and Dark ended up taking game 6 on Frost with a Bane drop and being able to go with that Ling Bane composition and taking it to a game 7. And this was a really fun matchup because game 7 was on Galactic Process. And this to me seems like a really interesting map, and a map you don't see a lot with the Koreans.
I like it. I think there's enough little cheeky places for me to hide things, and it's easy to take advantage of that. Whether it be behind the smoke, at the gold base, or even at their third base.
Yeah. Well, you know what? That's exactly what Dark utilized, was the smoke. He was able to continually attack Classic, taking down the rocks, just doing what he did in the King Sejong Station game, where he's always attacking his opponent and splitting him up, making the Protoss army not be able to be all together and attack at once, and ended up whittling down the game. And this was about as close a game as you can possibly have. It ended up to Dark pulling some drones in the end of the game to be able to kill and surround one Immortal, and it was Dark making it through by the skin of his teeth in a really odd kind of base trade scenario where he had killed all the mining bases of Classic, and Classic was very all in, and Dark was able to hold and took the series in a game 7, and it was absolutely fantastic to watch. If you guys want to look at a really good PvZ, I definitely recommend this series. Two great players playing very well. A lot of what Classic was doing is really good. I think that Dark just showed that he was prepared for the match and just has superior knowledge and gameplay, and making Zerg look good, and we end up having a ZVZ for the SSL finals.
Yeah, I don't think anyone saw that coming.
No. So, hey, if you're out there saying Zerg is underpowered, well, I don't know.
Maybe you just need to learn to play it. It's working for these guys.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because people talk about how one race is stronger, and I think that when you look at, we always talk about Brood War, that, it became balanced by people learning how to play the game.
Yeah.
I think that's a little bit what we're seeing. Zerg usually typically will be strongest first, but I think that we're seeing with this new drop style, Zerg's kind of having to learn it, kind of having to adjust their play styles, but maybe not isn't as bad of a place as we initially thought.
Yeah, I can see that.
And maybe it's an anomaly. Who knows?
Well, I feel like in the lower leagues, there's like tier advantages. Like I feel like if you're in the lower leagues, your advantages on the Protoss and the Terran, and then in the higher leagues, and by higher I mean like Platinum, Diamond, Low Masters. I feel like Zerg right now is the best because it's hard for people to unless you really grind a lot of games, it's hard for you to figure out like, okay, how can I punish the Zerg but at the same time stay safe? It's at the point of the game where you have to learn like, I don't need to go all in and I can't macro too hard. I got to find that heavy medium.
Yeah, and it's hard. It's easy for a Zerg to just get Lings in. I know I just experienced that in one of my matches, and it can be frustrating for the lower level players. But these guys know how to do it. They're never going to lose games like lower league players do, and it's interesting to see that we have this ZVZ finals. Obviously it'd be better to see a PVZ finals, but I think that it's kind of cool to see the Zergs making it through because Protoss, I don't think anybody's denying it. Protoss is in a good place right now in terms of the top Koreans.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I don't see that changing anytime soon, unless one of these patches hit and it's something ridiculous that
Yeah.
haven't already seen.
Yeah, but we had two of our better Protoss players here in the SSL finals, and neither of them made it through.
That's true. That's true.
So yeah, interesting to see the way the game's developing.
Maybe they just weren't worried about playing Zergs because they've been doing so bad that they didn't prepare.
Oh yeah, I got a Zerg. Yeah, automatically I'm gonna win, right?
Ended up biting them in the ass.
Yeah, maybe that's the case, huh?
Could have been.
Could have been, certainly. All right, so we wanted to kind of move away from the Korean scene and talk a little bit more of the Born Gosu League.
Well, we also wanted to talk about Uthermal.
You want to go for that first?
Yeah,
All
that's
right.
like foreigner news still.
All right, yeah, let's go for that.
So if you guys haven't seen, Uthermal had an interview with Team Liquid, which basically I won't get too much into it because it's a pretty long article, but it's a good read. I recommend it. If you're having some bathroom time and you need some reading material, that's definitely a good page turner to have on your phone. But basically, what it goes over is now that the Koreans are region locked and they're not able to participate in the other WCS events besides the Korean ones, um, as far as Thermal has seen it, everyone has gotten better because the people in the foreigners aren't getting knocked out in the round of 32. They're able to make it farther in, which is making it more viable for them to be a pro gamer and achieve what they're trying to do with their careers. But two, it's bringing up their skill and how well they're playing the game. It's making them as a better player because they're able to get farther. They're getting that confidence, but then they're also seeing these different things. Anyone can get cheesed. And if it's a single elimination, you get cheesed and you're just done. Okay, well here I am. For DreamHack Valencia, I've come from wherever, forever away, and I got eliminated due to cheese in the first round.
Yeah,
That would feel awful.
and I think that's what a lot of these Koreans do is they just know they're better and they don't need to play a long game because they know they can just win it quickly and don't have to risk anything. So I think that that's a good point that he's made there. I don't maybe it'd be better if they were playing even games with the Koreans, but I think that he has a
Yeah,
valid point there by saying that they're able to go into these tournaments and be on stage, have that learning experience of having to compete and having to compete against somebody more on their level and it's a different meta too. That we've seen that happen. The Chinese meta is very different than other metas because it's so locked, and that could happen with the European scene, the foreign scene, and maybe it gives them a little bit of an advantage over the Koreans. And I think it's good for somebody like you, Thermal, because he's been having success.
yeah, definitely. He's one of the better foreigners. Being one of the only ones that's won. A couple of these recent tournaments. He's done a really good job and made a name for himself. And then he also went on to say. The WCS point system doesn't really make a whole lot of sense at the moment. That's something that he feels that they need to restructure, and I can understand where he's coming from. One WCS event might be smaller in size but stacked as far as who's there for the roster, whereas you might have another one that's completely huge, but the quality of talent's not the same. Well, how are we differentiating? What are these points worth? How is it fair that though this one's bigger, you could say it's an easier tournament if you win it? Why is this one worth more points than maybe the small one that had more skilled players at it? So there needs to be some sort of a scale, if you will, based on size, how many points it's going to be worth, a set rate versus, what it currently is.
Right. And I think it makes sense for someone in his position to talk about this because he's won a tournament. He has that. I think he has the points to go on now to BlizzCon after winning one of these. But he's able to say, if I hadn't have won this, if I would just have gotten the points from second place, because of the type of tournament that it is, I wouldn't necessarily be able to be in the runnings where somebody who won this other tournament that maybe isn't as difficult is able to kind of punch their ticket easier, if you will.
Definitely. One of the other things that he had mentioned actually too about Blizzard is, again, not all these events are structured the same. He was saying at Montreal that if you were on the B stream, you had to play it on like a really shitty wobbly desk that was at a weird height with like shitty chairs. And it was just completely different just because it was the B stream. It's like, well, we kind of like need to have this uniform. Like, let's have some good stuff here.
Yeah.
And then at one point too, he was also complaining there was no food. No food was provided for the players, which I can see how that would kind of like. You feel like that would kind of be something that would be, available for them. Just something to snack on or whatever.
That's right.
Player, I tell you what, we need to do is we need to start the union, the StarCraft 2 Players Union. We need to represent our players better. They need better conditions. They need better pay.
Preach.
I'm just saying, I need to get involved with this. I need to talk to DK and then get this rolling. Have Blizzard represented just like the NFL does it,
Get him
man.
on the horn, yeah.
Exactly.
These boys need rights too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I mean,
But
I think
yeah,
it's a good point. Um, and I'm glad that Uthermal brings it up because, and I think that it's cool that he's uh, somebody that's had some success, and the people, a lot of people look to his stream and him as a content provider for Terran, and I think that it's cool that he's talking about these things because this is all new. This is new this year, having these kind of tournaments and the way that these points are being set up for BlizzCon. So it needs some
yeah,
adjustment, and I think it needs some being looked at by Blizzard. So I'm glad that he's raising the issue.
yeah, definitely. If you don't say anything, it won't get fixed.
Yeah.
So it's good to bring these things to light.
That's right. And this is a Team Liquid article. And for those of you who aren't familiar with StarCraft media, Team Liquid is about the best. There's the StarCraft Reddit, and there is Team Liquid. And Team Liquid is where you're going to want to go to look at events that are going on and articles like that are related to StarCraft. So Team Liquid,
Yeah,
I think it's just
articles,
teamliquid.com, right?
streams, teamliquid.net.
Teamliquid.net. There you go. So yeah, check that out and go ahead and look at Uthermal's article.
Yeah, like I said, it was worth the read. The other thing I have for player news is Team Liquid's still looking to get another player, and they haven't made any announcements yet. I think someone who would be very interesting would be Beyond, being teamless and having been teamless for a while, and making it so far into the GSL. I think that would be a nice pickup for them, especially to take Taja's place.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think it makes perfect sense. It's a guy that everybody rallies behind. I don't care if you play Terran or if you don't play Terran, that you can people he's a Korean that people can relate to. And I think
Yeah,
that it makes sense for Team Liquid being who they are to bring on somebody like that. So, I know we've been talking about a new player being introduced to Team Liquid. I know that we've said maybe, Uthermal might be a person, but yeah, I think it would make sense for Beyond to be that person as well.
definitely would also be nice to see, Team Liquid represented in Korea as well.
Yeah, yeah. So do we have anything else for general StarCraft news?
No, that's well. I mean, we had Nathanius go to Team Digital, I think it was, which is like a Dota team. But the theory is that he got hired as a caster, and they may be breaking into the StarCraft 2 market by making a StarCraft 2 team.
And that would be great. It's
So
always good to see
no
new people
details
there.
yet.
But
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, Nathanius is a lot of fun. He's definitely not somebody you go to learn a whole lot, but it's a fun stream. There's a lot of Kappa
he's a
spam in his
meme
chat,
king.
and yeah, he's the meme king prime, if you will.
Yeah, between him and Rapid, I mean, they're both pretty dank and pretty memey.
That's right. Yeah, so I think that kind of wraps it up for general StarCraft
Yeah,
news.
going to the Born Gosu.
Yeah, so let's move on to our own Born Gosu leagues and news, things that are going on. And again, for anybody who is looking to join a team of players, even if you're not interested in playing in the leagues, if you're just looking to hang out with some guys and play StarCraft, go ahead and check out borngosu.com. We're all an interesting, fun group of guys, and we're always helping other people improve. And I think that we're seeing that a lot with some of our CTL results.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're going to start another recruitment drive here pretty soon because a lot of our lower league players are advancing very quickly.
Yeah, that tends to happen. So if you want to go ahead and move up through the ranks,
Yeah,
check us out.
if you're ready to learn and you want to be promoted, it's not a bad option for you.
Yeah. So let's talk about our results from last week.
Sure. Are we talking team league or are we talking here?
Yeah, CTL.
Okay, yeah,
So we were playing esports.
yeah. Daily Life Esports, which was they're the new kids on the block. Well, one of them, I guess, between them and the Sidestorm community team. Um, it's the clan has been around for a while, but yeah, they're new to us. They had one week one versus Guns N' Roaches, and then came into us looking for their second victory. Fortunately, we were able to deny them that, and then it was a very nice win for us this week.
So do you want to go through the games a little bit?
Yeah, yeah. The first game, Darth Julius versus Artanis. I mean, Julius had been practicing all week for this, and he has a very good macro focused game. Where he lacks is just he doesn't seem to know when to attack. Like I think where he really needs to work on is like the timings, and then actually just doing a little more active stuff. He's so worried about building up that economy that I feel like sometimes he just forgets to make units,
Yeah.
which is the other key part of this game.
Right, and I know that he's a guy that goes on Spawning Tool and looks at some of those metrics, but sometimes
Yeah.
having a little bit more experience, you get that, and I think he'll get it. He's got a
Yeah,
strong,
he's definitely learning. I would say he's come a long way.
yeah, and he'll get there because he's one of the guys in the league that's putting in the work, and yeah, I know the
Definitely.
results will come for him.
Definitely.
Yeah, game two we had Ricky Rose versus Ed Wood. It was a PvP, and Ed Wood ended up taking the win there. I think Ricky Rose needs a little bit of work on her early PvP build order. She kind of delayed her cyber a bit, and some of that's just nerves, and that kind of allowed Ed Wood to get an advantage. But I know she played a really good match last week against Azurg, and I think that this year she's going to be making some improvements. So I'm looking forward to seeing some good results from her moving forward. And yeah, you got to remember to build your cyber when you're Protoss because it's pretty important in the structure.
That is an important building. Game three, we had Austrian Oak versus Amudor. I probably murdered that. I don't know how you say it, but he wasn't here to correct me.
I think that it might have
Uh,
been a different player.
oh yeah, you're right. I forget who they subbed for that. It didn't matter
It was
because
a
Austrian
TBT.
won.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
didn't matter. Austrian won anyway.
Yeah, and I just got to shout out Austrian Oak. He's coming in, he's winning games for us. He's fitting in really well with the clan. I like him. I like his style, and he's learning how to make Reapers, and that's awesome. Little
Yeah,
little, little 37 or little Skyhook, if you will.
little skyhook. Yeah, him and Rook's doing the little skyhook builds too.
Wait, isn't he threw down the proxy Reapers there? I believe, right?
Yeah, that was that one. Yeah.
So that was game three. Game four was Cyrex versus Vesparian. How do you say this? Vespasian.
This
Um,
pet,
his
yeah.
name doesn't matter. I'm gonna call him the dankest Terran alive because Cyrex took the win here, but nobody lost because what we got to see in this game, a Thor rush, and that was awesome. It didn't work at all. It was on Frozen Temple, and Cyrex is going for roach timing. It denied it very well, but I give props to anybody who's willing to go out there and throw down a Thor on the map. We had at one point I think 2 or 3 Thors out in this game, so that was damn cool.
That's the thing with that build is they get enough of them. It can actually be pretty difficult to do anything against. Like I
Yeah,
played against that build and cheesed, and he flies one Thor to your base, and it's like, well, now I've either had like base race or I have to figure this out because
yeah.
this is.
It was a strong build in Wings of Liberty.
Mm. Well, the Thor's been there for a little bit, but being the fact that it can be medevacked around and stuff gives it better utility for early game. It's obviously not a viable strategy, but it's interesting to see it when it pops up.
Yeah, a lot of fun to watch. Of course, Cyrex shut it down like a boss. Yes, that was game four.
Then we had Velasco versus Hilbert, which I believe was a TVC. Velasco was actually random, but I think he rolled Terran. And then just straight up just shut Hilbert down. Like when we messaged him that he was going to play, it was within like maybe 20 minutes of him subbing in, where he's like, "Okay, I'm done." I was like, "Oh, you messaged your opponent?" He's like, "No, I beat him." It's like, "Oh, okay." But yeah, congrats. And then he actually just got a recent promotion. He was one of our gold players. He's now up in platinum.
Yeah, well, congrats to him. So that was game five. Game six was Rook versus Bruh Fight Me. That's right, Bruh Fight Me. And maybe I mixed this one up with Austrian Oaks, or maybe both these guys 3 racks Reaper, but Rook did 3 racks Reaper on
They
his
probably
side.
both did.
They
Because
probably
I
it's a
know,
good TVT build, especially the
yeah.
lower leagues and stuff where folks don't know
Well,
how to deal with it.
well, I know, like I said, I know Oaks or that Rook's been doing the little skyhook build.
Little Skyhook build, that's right. That's what we're gonna call it. And same thing with Rook. He's finding his way in the team, and we're glad to have him here. And congrats to him for winning another TVT like that.
Yeah.
So
And
game
then
six, we took a win.
yeah, and then game seven it was Chut versus and remember again, God, who did they play?
It was Shine, I believe.
Oh, that's right. I didn't actually get a chance to see this one, but if I had to guess, it was probably like a Hellion Ghost build.
Yeah, that's a good guess. I
Okay.
didn't get to watch that one either, but I don't know what it was. I know Shine is a good player. He has some very interesting, at times disrespectful builds, but he's also a good macro player. So this could have gone a very various of ways. But he's got some interesting builds too. So
Yeah.
I'd be more than happy to know if it went ghosts.
Yeah. More than likely, that's probably what it was the good old Ghost Hellion build. And then finally, game 8, we had.
KU versus Pursuit. This was a ZVT, and this was our ace match. Um, KU ended up winning game one with a good old Bane bust, and then game two, it was an early Widow Mine drop, and KU was going for roach timing. This was on Frozen, and what's his name? Pursuit ended up getting a bunch of tanks, and KU kind of tried to continue to push with Ravagers, and it just got denied eventually. So game two ended up KU ended up losing, and then game three was on Apotheosis, and another bust from KU, pretty effective, got damage done, and then tried to bust again and didn't quite get as much done as maybe he needed to, and kind of abusing Apotheosis in terms of these rocks. Um, Shut out the third base and then got this nasty position with Liberators and Siege Tanks. A kind of slow and steady choke out of KU, and Pursuit took the win there. But shouts out to KU for playing as our master spot. I know that's
Yeah,
some
definitely.
competitive games there. A lot of these players in the CTL are at a high level, and KU's putting down really good games.
Yeah, he is. He's a very good player. I look forward to seeing more matches of his here in the future. But I believe that brought the total for the week to 5-3, if I'm not mistaken, right? 5-3.
I believe so.
Okay, perfect. I'm like 90% sure that's what it was.
If it's not,
'Cause
well, we suck as
well,
always.
here's the important thing. Regardless of score, we won.
We did win that, yeah.
So I do know
So
that
that
for
brings
a
us to
fact.
1-1 on the season. So we're all tied up. And
Exactly.
yeah, if you want to get a little bit of a preview on the games that are coming up this week, if you're in Born Go Sue's Discord, look in the updates. There's a weekly newsletter letter that Toast puts out, and that has kind of previews on all the games, as well as just a player highlight and some other cool stuff. So make sure to check that out.
Yeah, it's just something. It's a decent read.
Yeah,
I like to put in some memes in there.
that's right. Well, why not?
Let you guys figure out where they're from. That's kind of the thing to do
It's
with
kind of like
that.
a Where's Waldo newsletter where you get to spot out the dank memes. It's like
Exactly.
Waldo.
Find the meme.
Yeah, so that's kind of it for CTL, and the last thing we wanted to highlight was the BGSL, which is our in-house Star League.
One thing I wanted to say about the CTL real quick
Yeah,
is, this week we're playing Guns N' Roses, who Daily Life beat. So ergo, we should beat them because we're better than Daily Life. So we should be looking at a 2-1.
there you go.
Science, math,
Makes sense, right?
exactly. All right, BGSL.
Yeah, so BGSL, I'm going to bring over the bracket real quick and try to
Sure.
take that scene, that work, and hopefully the
There we
resolution's
go.
better this week so we can see.
Much better. Much better.
Yeah, we learned how to adjust resolutions today. It was kind of tough. I haven't used XSplit before. I was searching all around for it and it was hidden in plain view. Anyway, BGSL. Our winners for the second set of matches were Banana, Olkin, who beat me, Sam, and Shine, so all pretty strong players advancing.
Yeah, those are some of our best. And then also going forward, the prize pool was added in. Shout outs to Tim for providing the prize pool money. We appreciate that. We appreciate you, buddy, for everything that you do for us.
Yeah, and it's great to have.
Uh,
By the way, if you don't know, Narwhal is back again. He kind of took a stepped away for a couple of weeks there, but he's back with the team and back strong, I should say.
yeah, definitely doing a lot for us. Just like he always has, and being there for us when we need him the
Yeah,
most.
he's our most dedicated member for a reason. The firstborn is strong.
Well, I'm trying to take that title, but I can only do so much.
Oh, yeah. So in terms of the BGSL here, um, we do have our decider matches coming up, and it's Corey versus Matt and KU versus myself. Probably play tomorrow if he's available. And the match I want to highlight is going to be Soundboy versus Skyhook. And the reason this is exciting is because these two are brothers.
Yep, Devin and Dylan,
That's right.
who had the chance to meet the last time I was out in New York. They're both pretty nice fellas. Um, we had an interesting night to say the least. It was interrupted by one of their high school buddies who wasn't very in control of his feelings. Let's put it that way.
You got to be in control of your feelings. It's
Yeah,
important in life.
you got to be a big man. Be a big man and be in control.
Yeah. And the last match we'll have is going to be Wobbs versus Siriti. Or Sireti.
So for this, for who I see going out, I think it's going to be Corey, you,
Yeah.
Soundboy, and Wobbs.
Oh, for who goes on?
Yeah.
I'll say that Corey goes on, KU goes on.
You're gonna bet
Uh,
against yourself?
well, I mean, KU's, yeah, I will. And
You beat KU.
I haven't played. I beat him once. Yeah, that won't. That's the reason why I think he'll beat me. I think he's better than
Nah,
me,
he's
but we'll
tilted
see.
right now. You got
He's
this.
tilted. Okay, well,
You,
I haven't been. I'm
you
not gonna lie. I haven't been playing like at all.
use that tilt power, man. You got to use that tilt power to your advantage.
My wife's gone tomorrow, and I have nothing going on, so I'm gonna practice tomorrow
Exactly. Hit
and
it
hopefully
up.
tonight a little bit too. And then I think that Skyhook will go on. I know you say that Soundboy is a really good Protoss, but I haven't seen him play, and I believe in the power of 37 SCVs. And
Well,
I think Wobbs will go on, but I don't know if this is as one-sided as we might see it because he's in college now, and that's distracting when you get all those beautiful young girls running around.
I mean that is true. I don't know how many beautiful girls go to Virginia Tech, but according to Wobbs, they have some pretty damn good food. So if he's
Uh-oh.
not distracted by the women, he is distracted by the delicious food there.
Well, I'm hoping it's the prior, but if it's the food,
Yep.
then nonetheless he has distractions. But yeah, I think Wobbs will probably go on in that one.
My advice to Wobbs is the freshman 15 is a real thing, but be careful.
For me, it's not what I was in college. It was after that it was tough. Well, actually, that's not true. High
It was
school, I was
after you were
high school.
married.
I was in really good shape. No, the marriage wasn't as bad. It was just, I guess, kind of college. Yeah, college can be tough because
Yeah.
especially if you play high school sports and you don't in college.
Yeah. Well, then you get in that party life kind of too, and that doesn't help,
That's a
when
big
you're
part of it. Yeah.
double fist and tall boys.
Amen, brother.
Thirsty
Amen.
Thursdays.
I
Dollar
heard that.
pizza.
Yeah, beat the clock, all that good stuff.
Exactly. There's just too much good deals.
Yeah, so highlighting the way the brackets are going to go, I think that the interesting thing is that the winner of Group B goes on to play Shine KO. So that'll be Ulkin and either myself or KU, and then Sam is going to play either Corey or Matt N.
Okay. I think Sam goes through in that one. I think depending on who goes through in your group and plays Shine, I think that kind of depends. I think if KU goes through, then KU beats Shine. I think if you go through, Shine wins.
Yeah, I think these brackets are pretty interesting, and I think it'll be a very competitive year this year.
Yeah, definitely.
And we know we won't have a repeat champion since Narwhal is not playing in it.
Yeah.
And
I
big shout out
think
again to Narwhal for casting all these games solo. And if you want to see those games, you're probably on the YouTube account for Born Gosu because that's where we're posting these the Dank Shrine. So go ahead and check out those games; they're there. And yeah, some good watching, some good StarCraft to check out.
Yeah, also go ahead and follow the Born Gosu Twitch page, which is just Twitch/Born Gosu. For those, you can hit the follow button. You'll be alerted when our new content comes out. At some point, this may be live, maybe, but as for right now, we're just going to keep doing it. Recording, I think that works a little better with our schedules.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's gonna be watching us at like 3 in the morning
Um,
on East Coast time. So
yeah, I'm back in Central, so it's tough.
yeah,
I'm going back and forth.
yeah. As we said, both of us have had kind of a rough week in terms of scheduling. Pretty busy, but we're here trying to deliver some content to you guys. But
It's
again,
been
check out.
long.
It's been busy. Yeah, I know you've been traveling all across the country, right?
Yeah, Georgia back to Minneapolis in about 20 hours, I would say it took me. A couple naps, no hotel stays, so pretty much straight through and through. Was pretty rough.
Yeah, and then I've gone through the last week where it was kind of preparing for a fantasy football draft, which doesn't sound like it's a lot, but when you're doing a live draft, it's a lot of work. And then this week was making, I believe we had 17 liters of biopharmaceutical product, and the downstream week is a tough week, so I'm running on very little sleep here. But nonetheless, we move on, and yeah, you're back home and you're going on vacation this week, I believe, right?
Yeah, we're going on to back to Atlanta where I just left.
Uh, the
Fun
dirty
stuff.
South, man. I love it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go do a couple things, see the aquarium, do a couple other things. It should be pretty fun, but you know,
Great. we'll enjoy it, and we'll be back to catch you guys next week. Again, check us out at borngosu.com. And if you guys want to send any questions to this show, we're going to be looking at those from the Twitter page, which is going to be the Dank Shrine on twitter.com. So
Yeah, feel free to hit us up with any questions, any topics you want us to hit on. And then, yeah, just anything moving forward, post it there, and we'll do our best to get around to answering those questions.
yeah, so thanks for checking us out, you guys, and we'll see you next week.
Take care.